Yo, everybody, what's going on? This is 2 Liter J. This is the Sacramento Truth Movement. I'm doing this brief little interruption right here for this video. I just want to let everybody know that the last week or so, I've been working on a new Discord server. Like I eventually said I was going to make it. I finally got around to it. And now it's finally ready to go, ready to launch to the public. Everything is set up so far that I'm aware of. I got everything functional. I put a little bit of money into this to make it look aesthetically pleasing to me as possible. We got some personal bots in there now. We got a Rush Limbaugh bot and a few other things to find. Ready to grow the community once again. This is There Be Monsters Volume 3. So check it out. There's a link in the description. Take care. Now, back to this.
New Orleans police have released disturbing video of Sunday's mass shooting in the Milneburg neighborhood. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson. The gunfire left 2 people dead and 2 others injured. Paul Murphy reports investigators are asking for help in identifying the shooter.
Security camera video shows a gunman emerging from behind a wooden fence at Franklin Discount Convenience Store. He is armed with what appears to be an assault-style weapon. According to neighbors, he opened fire on a group of young men gathered in the store's side parking lot. One woman, who asked not to be identified, described the scene.
They were like standing around the car. I don't know if they just parked there or they were going into the store or what. I just saw a red car parked there and a guy laying on the ground, like 2 guys on the ground.
The shooting happened Sunday evening shortly after 7 near Franklin Avenue and Madrid Street in the Milneburg neighborhood. Bullet holes riddled the store's exterior wall. Michael and Otessa Broussard heard the gunshots.
I was cooking and I heard about 7 shots. It sounded like baby cannons.
I got the kids situated, and then I came towards the front area just to make sure that there wasn't a threat coming towards my home.
New Orleans police say a 16-year-old boy and a 21-year-old man died in the shooting. 2 others were wounded, including a 17-year-old boy.
It was pretty violent. I'm not sure what was going on, but these people, they hang out here all the time. Everybody's pretty nice.
The NOPD released a video asking for help in identifying the shooter.
I can tell you this, that's very unfortunate. My condolences to the families and everyone that's at a loss right now. It's a sad case.
The NOPD continues searching for both suspects and a motive. Paul Murphy, WWL, Louisiana.
If you can help solve this crime, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111.
So police are getting closer to determining a motive for the mass shooting inside a New York City office building. Officials say a lone gunman killed 4 people, including a police officer. Another man is in critical condition. Surveillance video shows the suspect walking into the building with a high-powered rifle held by his right hand, and several high-profile companies, including Blackstone, the National Football League, have offices there. Mayor Eric Adams told CBS Mornings a short time ago that the suspect may have been targeting the NFL.
He did have a note on him. The note alluded to that he felt he had CTE, a known brain injury for those who participate in contact sports. He appeared to have blamed the NFL for his injury. The NFL headquarters is located in the building at 345 Park Avenue. From our preliminary investigation, he took the wrong elevator bank up to the NFL headquarters. Instead, it took him to Rudin Management, and that is where he carried out additional shootings and took the lives of additional employees.
A lot of interesting information there. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano joins us now from near the scene. Good morning to you, Lilia. Tell us more about this note and how exactly investigators are trying to retrace the suspect's steps.
Well, Errol, what we are learning this morning, as you heard from Mayor Eric Adams, is that they're getting closer to a motive. That in this note that they found, of course, they have not released the note, some grievances where he may have been blaming the NFL for what he perceived to be CTE, a brain injury. We know about the suspect just from online profiles and videos that he played high school football, and there are some highlights from his high school football career. We don't know how far that went, but we know that he grew up in Southern California, started the journey in Las Vegas where he was. In fact, we saw, which is very interesting given the documented evidence of mental health illness that we heard from the New York City Commissioner yesterday.
This is from New York City. A gunman captured right there on surveillance images. This gunman appearing, Giovanna, to hold what appears to be maybe an assault rifle. It is believed that this individual has now committed suicide inside of a building along Park Avenue, in between Park Avenue and Lexington, a facility that actually houses some of the country's top financial firms and the NFL. We do believe there are additionally two more victims, potentially a police officer that was injured in this shooting.
Yes, and you're looking right now at live pictures from the ground. Again, this is happening in Manhattan in New York City, and we will continue to follow the developments and bring you any new information as it comes into our newsroom.
It all breaking within the past hour or so, but again, that image of the suspect now being released. Pretty frightening.
You're following breaking news out of Minneapolis. Multiple law enforcement agencies are responding to reports of an active shooter at Annunciation Church in South Central Minneapolis. Governor Tim Walz posted on social media just moments ago that he's been briefed on the shooting and that both the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension and State Patrol are on the scene. We're also hearing reports that the ATF and FBI are responding too. Let's bring in ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin. Olivia, what do we know so far?
Well, not very much at this hour, Diane. Like you said, the governor there just confirming that there is a shooting going on, what he calls a horrific act of violence at this school. I would also point out that the governor says that this is a young Catholic school. Just looking up information at the school right now, it says it's a preschool to 8th grade lower school, which is, again, just horrific. I would also point out that they're saying that this is really the first week of school. This is when kids are going back. As you said, we know there's also a large federal response going on right now. The FBI responding, ATF responding. We don't know anything more than the fact that this incident has unfolded. It's way too early to be talking about numbers. If people are injured, if people have been killed, way too early. We don't have information on that, but just from the picture you're seeing on your screen right now, you can tell that this is sort of all hands on deck right now.
What do we know about the area, Olivia?
You know, we're looking into the area right now. As I said, this is a small Catholic school, just by information on its website. I would also point out, though, just as you know, we've all been working this summer, we've seen some incidents of violence both at schools and in Minnesota itself. Remember a few weeks ago when we were all dealing with the horrific shootings of lawmakers in Minnesota. Remember just again a week or so ago we were dealing with an incident at Emory University, a hoax incident at Villanova. We find ourselves dealing with these incidents over and over and over again, and we've been talking about it for years, but it's quite striking how frequently we find ourselves back in this position. Again, as the governor's pointing out, the first week that kids are going back to school right now, Diane.
Tonight, 5 Investigates has new video of the Annunciation Church shooter in a local gun shop 5 days before the attack last week.
Let's get right to investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen, who just obtained the video of Robin Westman.
You know, that video was recorded the Saturday before the shootings. And now the owner of Frontiersman Sports in St. Louis Park tells me the thing that stands out is that nothing stood out about the killer just days before they carried out that terrible attack. Some now call it the face of evil.
You know, the first time I watched all of this, I literally feel like I have to take a shower afterwards.
But when Robin Westman walked into this gun shop just days before shooting and killing children in Minneapolis,
We are devastated by this.
Owner Corey Krause says there were none of the classic warning signs.
He was friendly, he was jovial, he smiled, laughed, asked questions. He interacted with 3 of our staff in a friendly manner.
Cameras at Frontiersman Sports in St. Louis Park first recorded the would-be shooter just after 12:30 p.m. the Saturday before the attack. Wearing a shirt with "A Place for Well-Being" on the back, they spent 40 minutes browsing, holding, and aiming a wide variety of guns. At one point, even speaking with a fellow customer. None of the behaviors Krause says his staff is trained to look out for.
What could I have done? What could I have caught? There was nothing.
These are still questions you ask yourself.
Because you had 3 layers of seasoned veteran employees that know this stuff, and they can sniff this stuff out from a mile away.
Krause says the shooter did not get any of the guns or ammunition used in the attack from his store, ultimately presenting a valid permit to purchase when buying a small .38 special revolver not mentioned in search warrants. While the victims and their families will never be able to face their attacker, Krause says he's sharing this video with us with the hope of someday answering questions about how and why this happened.
The public only knows so much right now, and if this can shed some light on how this person was and how they were acting and what we do to try to prevent it, because, I mean, we work very hard to try to prevent this type of stuff.
Krause tells me his staff already shared this video with federal investigators who came to his store last week while he was away. Now, by law, authorities tell me they cannot reveal or identify where the shooter got the weapons that were actually used in this attack.
What stood out is nothing stood out about
At all.
And these are
still so eerie to see.
He says his staff works hard to try to identify it. In this case, they didn't have much to work with.
Okay. Thank you.
Eric, thank you.
We now know that the Minneapolis shooter, Robert Westman, was a mentally disturbed young man who, at the age of 17, with the approval of his mother, went trans and changed his name to Robin. Predictably, as with so many kids lured into this world, things got worse. Robert, then Robin, descended into darkness. 5 years later, he expressed regret about what he had done and a desire to detransition. Now, according to a translation of the purported manifesto, Westman wished he hadn't brainwashed himself and hadn't questioned his gender identity, writing that while he knows he wasn't a woman, he didn't feel like a man. Now, we don't know what sort of treatment he got, if any, but we do know that there needs to be an investigation into how so-called gender-affirming care is impacting our kids.
This is the second shooting involving a trans-identifying shooter who specifically targeted Christians and Catholic kids. What kind of consequences do the gender-affirming therapists, doctors, or even the parents of these shooters face after these types of shootings?
HHS is investigating perhaps links between some of these drugs and these prescription drugs that some of these minors may be taking and an increase in violence.
Here to discuss is Dr. Drew Pinsky, host of Ask Dr. Drew and Chief Patient Officer for the Wellness Company. Dr. Drew, Minnesota Democrats, they brag about being a safe haven for trans youth and adults. They celebrate and elevate transgenderism, including in schools. You've seen it at cultural events. Jacob Fry's taken part in some of these. But isn't it time to have a serious conversation about, like, a federal ban on any gender treatment of any kind at any medical facility, at least when it involves minors?
Oh boy, it's a heavy question. But the reality, though, is, look, the fact that we take this treatment and we don't contemplate the context in which it occurs, and we bureaucratize and centralize and politicize the practice of medicine, you're going to have bad outcomes. This kid had a context that was much more serious problem than was his gender feelings. The reality is it's like treating a fever when somebody has a pneumonia. You miss the underlying condition. And the reality also is, Laura, that there are people that do benefit from care, properly selected, properly timed. But we spend no energy figuring out who those patients are. So we're giving one size fits all, which only ends up in what looks to all of us like harm, as opposed to any potential benefit for anybody.
So do you think giving puberty blockers or even green lighting surgery for minors can be a good thing?
I'm not clear about surgery, but I've seen many cases in which somebody, as they hit puberty, not getting puberty blockers, just getting hormonal therapies, are carefully assessed for many months, sometimes years, and then are told they're going to be taking dangerous medicines for the rest of their life. They have to take these things. They're very circumspect about it. They understand they have a condition. These are dangerous medicines, and it's not to be willy-nilly applied to anybody who might have a funny feeling about who they are.
Yeah, transgenderism among young people, Dr. Drew, is skyrocketing, we understand. So trans kids ages 13 to 17 make up more than a quarter of the entire trans population. So when you look at Minnesota, where the shooting happened, the transgender rate there among 18 to 24-year-olds is the highest in the United States. What are your thoughts there?
We need to look at this as seriously as we look at rates of, say, something like autism, where you're not allowed to ask. All these years, we've not been allowed to ask what is going on. Why are these rates going up? There's a reason here. Contagion has been suspected. There's all sorts of concerns about medications, of course, but there's something going on, and we need to understand what that is and stop merely slapping something on the surface and looking deeper. Humans are complicated. Our brains are complicated. And just giving some paste on the outside is not going to solve what's going on necessarily on the inside.
Do you think that, given what we've learned about this individual, that it's even conceivable that there weren't major red flags about a potential episode, perhaps a violent one, brewing here? We had lots of problems, obviously lots of disciplinary issues and other problems, but
yes,
this doesn't happen overnight.
No, it does not. They're absolutely categorically had the very. This is what is so disgusting to me, and frankly ashames me of my profession, that they focused on this one issue of care and miss the important context of what was going on with this kid. I don't want to say I feel sorry for a perpetrator like this, but is this kid better because of the care he got from the medical system? Are any of these kids that have shot places up and had transgender treatments better because they got transgender treatment? Something is very wrong with how we're approaching this treatment, and we need to solve that problem.
Well, European countries are beginning to ban it, have banned it. I think our whole country has to have a serious conversation about this.
Meantime, we are getting reports this afternoon of an active shooter and a fire at a church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. That's about an hour outside of Detroit. Let's go to Brian Yennis. He has the very latest for us. Brian, what can you tell us?
Kevin, good afternoon. A developing story indeed. We can tell you right now that the Grand Blanc police say that fire that you're seeing on your screen was started by a suspected active shooter. Sources telling Fox 2 Detroit that active shooter is now down. So this is the situation we have. We also know, according to that reporting from our local affiliate in Detroit, that there are 6 to 8 victims. Their condition currently unknown at this hour. An active shooter shooting the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon church in Grand Blanc Township. This is about 60 minutes northwest of Detroit, about 10 miles south of Flint, Michigan. We have seen some folks, victims being taken out by stretcher. There has been a full-blown response to this church. We don't know how this fire was started, but sources tell our Fox 2 Detroit that fire was started by the suspected shooter. This all started shortly after 11 a.m. local time. We expect a press conference at about 12:45, 1 o'clock Eastern with the latest from the police. But this is, unfortunately, this was a church that they had people there worshiping inside. This church is open 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. today. When this shooter opened fire sometime after 11 a.m., striking from reportedly 6 to 8 people in that church. Their condition unknown. You can see the shot here. This is, we don't control this camera, but this is a local affiliate there. You can see the fire trucks working there. There are police officers there. Like I said, that smoke from the church is billowing a lot less than it was even just 15, 20 minutes ago. So you can understand the situation here, Kevin, where they are working on putting out a fire at the same time that they are looking for victims of an active shooter. Just a horrific situation, a complicated situation there for our first responders in Grand Blanc, Michigan right now at the Church of Latter-day Saints. So we should expect an update within the next 40 minutes or so to give us a sense of what else, just the extent of this horrific situation. We do know, though, according to the reporting, as I said, that this is the police in Grand Blanc Township are saying that there is currently no threat to the public at this time because the shooter is down. That is a bit of good news here, as you can see the first responders trying to figure out, trying to take out this fire while also saving potentially any victims that could be trapped inside, Kevin.
Let me ask you, do we know if the fire was started and then the gunman opened fire, or did he attack the congregation and then set the building ablaze? Do we have any of that information? By the way, I should point this out. This is all happening on a day that the LDS Church announced with sorrow that Russell M. Nelson, the beloved president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, had died. He was 101, the oldest president in the history of the church. So it's a solemn day for mourners. I just wanted to point that out as well. Brian, back to you. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, it's a good point. Sources telling our local affiliate there in Detroit that the suspected shooter may have started the church fire. In terms of what came first, it is simply too soon to tell. What we do know, again, is that this was a shooting that was reported shortly after 11 a.m. You can see neighbors there looking, worryingly looking there. And so there are 6 to 8 victims. We don't know the extent of their injuries. We know that the active shooter is no longer was shot. We don't know if that shooter was killed. All we know is that that shooter is down. So these are all the things you can see. Our satellite view there, Google Maps, gives you an idea of the size of this church. We don't know how big this fire was, just based on the images that we could see. I mean, it was very thick black smoke. So to the extent of when this fire was started by this shooter, how large this fire was, did it take down the whole church? Was it simply in a small part? Those are simply questions that we don't know the answers to yet, but it looks like a substantial fire that they were putting down. This is an earlier video. You can see that the smoke was a lot thicker than it was even during the last couple of minutes of this report, a thick black smoke, and you can see also there victims that were brought out on the stretcher. As others, seemingly, even the elderly, coming out of that church. Just a horrific scene this morning, Kevin, in Grand Blanc.
The Washington County Coroner's Office confirming in total 16 people were shot, a dozen were taken to hospitals to be treated for their injuries. 4 people were found dead on the scene early Saturday morning. Those victims have been identified as 41-year-old Oshima Johnson, 19-year-old Calvin Plant, 25-year-old Shabona Powell, and 18-year-old Caselyn Johnson. By 11:50 Saturday morning, 2 others died from their injuries, 18-year-old Amos Brantley Jr. and 34-year-old Jamichael Jones. The carnage shaking the community.
There were bodies, there were people standing around, there were blood coming from people's rears and back, side, arm, head, and when you get out, it was like Beirut. It was the most horrific scene I've ever seen.
Before the gunfire erupted, Leland High School was celebrating their homecoming festivities. Kamisha Hopkins says the city is trying to come together to make sense of what happened early Saturday morning.
We're full of emotions right now. We're trying to engage. We're trying to comfort people. We're trying to see who needs help. And the lack of security, the lack of officers, the lack of help. Leland failed Leland yesterday.
County and city officials coming together Saturday afternoon to grieve and pled with residents to speak up and help solve this investigation.
We just need to know who did this so we can begin. There's no closure until there's justice. And we want to offer our condolences to all of the families that were affected directly and indirectly.
This is not a time to keep your mouth closed. It's a time you open your mouth. You can save a lot of lives if you open your mouth and tell us what you have seen. And I want to say that it's prayer time in the city for the families. I also want to say it's revival time, not only in Leland, Mississippi, but all over the country.
The deadly shootings after 2 high school football games in Mississippi. At least 4 people were killed and several others injured at a game in Leland, Mississippi. And then on the other side of the state, at least 2 people were killed and shot on school grounds in Heidelberg. Olivia Rubin, our investigative reporter, is joining us now. You are following both stories. So what is the latest with this?
Perry, just 2 horrible incidents, both, as you said, relating to a high school football game. That first actually happened at what officials are saying was a gathering after the school's homecoming game. Perry, 20 people shot during that incident, 4 killed, 4 airlifted in emergency critical condition. That's the state of play there. And then you go, as you said, to the other side of the state, and this is an act of violence that actually occurred on school grounds related to a football game. Authorities saying that 1 victim was found, Perry, on the high school's baseball team, on the baseball field, the other one near the tailgating area. That first incident, officials saying there is no one in custody so far. For the second incident, officials saying they do now have someone in custody that they are questioning, Perry. That individual, just 18 years old.
Incredibly sad. Olivia, thank you for that report.
It is our top story tonight. An overnight mass shooting leaving 4 dead and over 20 injured on St. Helena Island. At around 1 a.m. today, the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office received multiple reports of a shooting at Willie's Bar and Grill located at 7 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Upon arrival, officials say they found several people suffering from gunshot wounds, and at least 100 people were reportedly present at the time of the shooting. WSAV's Danielle Cobb has been at Willie's Bar and Grill speaking to the owner and employees who were working at the time this happened. She shares the latest.
It started as an alumni reunion tailgate for a local high school here at Willie's Bar and Grill, but soon a fun time would erupt into a mass of shots ringing through the air, causing panic and chaos and lives to be taken.
It's like rapid fire. Like a rapid pa pa da 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 da.
Employees of the bar and grill replaying the terrifying events that transpired last night.
All of a sudden, total chaos. You know, people running in the kitchen, hollering, they're shooting. I said, where? And they say outside. So everybody run for the back door. Everybody's panicking. They don't know what to do.
Shots rang outside around 1 in the morning, where hundreds of people gathered for the Battery Creek High School alumni event. Beaufort County Sheriff's confirming the mass shooting took 4 lives and injured over 20, with some still in critical condition.
This could be one of the darkest days on St. Helena, and it's happening on my front porch.
Owner Willie Terrell and employees were back at the venue just hours later, cleaning up the chaos left behind. He says he's still trying to process the devastation.
Anytime you have something like this transpire, your heart goes out because somebody's son, somebody's daughter didn't come home, and I mean, obviously as an owner, you want to do the best you can to make sure everybody goes home safe.
When asked what happened to lead to the shooting, Willie nor employees or anyone in the area could give me an answer. They say whatever it was, it never needed to end how it did.
What they got to learn is it's no value in hurting other people. If you got a problem, don't take it out on other people. You know what I mean? Deal with it somewhere else. Don't bring it here.
Obviously a very tragic day for several families here on St. Helena Island. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office is still investigating the shooting. They ask if you have any information to call Beaufort County Crime Stoppers. From St. Helena Island, I'm Danielle Cobb, WSAV News 3, on your side.
It's been a busy 21 hours for us, and that's about how far we are into this right now. And so understand that a lot of you have seen what we've put out so far, but just wanted to take this opportunity to come and give you a little bit of an update of where we're at on this. Not a lot to add to it, but wanted to give you the opportunity to ask any questions you might have also. So as you know, approximately 21 hours ago, a little before 6 o'clock, we had a mass shooting at a child's birthday party here in Stockton, in the county region of Stockton. Our units responded and found approximately 15 victims of gunshot wounds.
And that breaking news tonight, the urgent search on for the suspects in a deadly mass shooting that broke out at a children's birthday party over the weekend in San Joaquin County. The investigation now in its third day as we're learning more about those victims tonight. Video from Live Copter 3 showing the space that is quiet and empty now, where 15 people were shot during a party Saturday night. Many of those people were children. 4 of those victims were killed.
Video from the ground shows bullet holes and evidence markers throughout that space. Today, we heard from the mother of the 2-year-old whose birthday celebration was targeted about the horror of her party turning into a tragic night for dozens of families.
Everybody was getting ready to cut the cake, like I said, and I actually thought it was my balloons popping. It was gunshots. Try not to be in public all the time with your kids, because anything can happen, and bullet do not have a name. I believe that if you guys ever have a birthday party, just have a birthday party indoors and don't be outside.
Tonight, as the manhunt for those shooters continues, there was a call for people to come forward with any information. Thank you for joining us tonight for our News at 6. I'm Edie Lambert.
I'm Gold Dart. The reward for that information has now gone up, a combined of $75,000 in total. And remember, if you give information here that leads to an arrest, you can stay anonymous. So here's what we know so far. The sheriff says that the shooting was before 6 o'clock Saturday as people were filling a banquet hall off of Lucille Avenue. More than 100 people had been celebrating that child's birthday party. We know the people killed were 8 years old, 9 years old, as well as 14 and 21 years old. Investigators have yet to release the names of those killed, but the 14-year-old has been identified as Amari Peterson. We have his picture as well. Family and friends of the 21-year-old victim have identified him as Susano Archuleta, the mother who hosted that birthday party, talking about how deeply personal these losses all are.
I don't know what happened. I'm just so shocked and lost, and I'm lost of words. I'm speechless, and I just want to say I'm sorry to all the mothers out there that lost their kids at my birthday party. Daughter's dad, niece, both his nieces passed away. I'm sorry. My sister actually got shot. My cousin got shot. My son's friend got shot. My 3 of my friends got shot. My friend's baby dad got shot and got killed.
So again, right now there is a combined $75,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. The FBI is offering $50,000, and you can find their tip page online. Stockton Crime Stoppers is offering $25,000, and you can see the phone number there. It is 209-946-0600, and you can remain anonymous.
All right, we put together some live team coverage on this story tonight with a lot of folks grieving, as well as other people calling for action as they're asking questions now. Beginning our coverage with KCRA 3's Anahita Jafari. And Anahita, any indication here law enforcement is any closer to finding out who did this?
Well, unfortunately, Golston, the answer to that question is we don't have that information at this time. We did ask the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office that earlier today, and they were very unclear with the direction that this investigation is going as far as who those suspects are. Now we're hitting that 48-hour mark since that deadly shooting happened. We're just steps away from that banquet hall here on Lucille Avenue. We've been out here all day, and we have not seen deputies. We haven't seen patrol cars since we got here earlier. We did want to give you a look at what it looks like out here tonight. Take a look over my shoulder. You can see some of those candles that have been laying out on the ground, and flowers, and even a teddy bear I saw earlier. This collection of items just continuing to grow daily. Last night when we were out here, we saw half as much. We also wanted to show you a little bit to the right the garage door to the banquet hall that has just been littered with bullet holes. We're going to zoom in, and you can see those white evidence markers with letters by each bullet hole. It is a very somber feeling here today, with grief just hanging over the city. We spoke with people in businesses across the street that are all still shaken by the shooting, saying how devastating it is to hear about children killed and others hurt so close to where they work. Earlier we
spoke with the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, who does tell us a new detail about the victims that are still alive.
There are children. The ages range, I believe, anywhere from 8 up to around 30 years old. I'm not going to give specific ages on this, but we do know that there have been some schools, Stockton Unified, Lodi Unified, even I believe Modesto. Their staff have reached out to see if these victims might be students at their schools, and they're offering grief support for anybody who may, been related or affected by this incident.
And back out here live as we continue to ask questions to the Sheriff's Office. We'll work on getting you some answers to some of those questions still left unanswered. Out here in Stockton, I'm Anahita Jafari, KCRA 3 News.
So quick question, Anahita. What are some of the other answers people are looking for right now from law enforcement?
Well, we know a big question that's been circling in the community has been about those suspects, whether it's one or more, who exactly they are, any details on those suspects, a description maybe of what they might look like. We did ask the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office that earlier today in our live interview at noon, and unfortunately, there is no response at this time. They said they're just still looking over footage and working on getting us some information on that.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of fear out there as people who would shoot, target children are still on the run. So that's understandable. Anahita, thank you.
Well, tonight we're learning more about the victims of the shooting this weekend.
A former Stockton mayor identified one of those who was shot and survived as a well-known community leader. KCRA 3's Leanne Denier has more from downtown Stockton.
We spent today talking with friends and family members of those injured in the shooting, as well as those who have loved ones who lost their lives, many telling us that they're still trying to figure out their next steps. We did learn today from former Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs that the woman on this mural here in downtown Stockton is among the injured, Jasmine Delafosse.
She's been such a beacon of light, of love, of an example of leadership in the city, focusing on reducing violence, focusing on investing in young people, focusing us on making sure that we give every kid in Stockton an opportunity.
He described her as a mentee and a friend.
Oftentimes when we think about gun violence, we think it only happens to gang members. We think it only happens to folks who are involved in lifestyles of violence, and that's partly true.
I do want to get back to the latest here on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk as we continue to learn new details here. Brooke Singman over at Fox Digital posting this a short time ago saying, exclusive, Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson lived with his transgender partner, according to sources. The individual, who is a male transitioning to a female, is fully cooperating with the FBI. Sources tell me the FBI had texts and other communications between Robinson and the individual that helped FBI authorities solidify that Robinson was indeed the shooter. Again, Robinson has been named the suspect and is in custody. The last question Charlie Kirk answered before he was murdered was, quote, "Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Charlie replied, quote, "Too many." He was then asked, quote, "Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Charlie replied, quote, "Counting or not counting gang violence." Charlie was then assassinated. Again, those details there coming from Brooke Singman over at Fox. And we do continue to cover everything related to the assassination here as we learn more about what to expect in the coming days. The Utah County District Attorney now saying that 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, seen in these mugshots here, will be formally charged with Kirk's murder Tuesday ahead of his initial court appearance. And it also seems that Attorney General Pam Bondi and the DOJ are weighing the idea of federal charges in that case. As for how Robinson was identified as the suspect, the FBI says his father recognized him in surveillance photos that were released Thursday as investigators did look for a person of interest. Those are the photos there on your screen. The Associated Press reporting that Robinson's father told him to turn himself in, and at first he refused, but then changed his mind. Now we're also hearing from investigators that it appears that Robinson is not commenting here he is not cooperating with law enforcement as they question him, working here to determine a motive. Take a look at this video right here as you can see students and others running here. We know that Charlie Kirk was shot there with a single bullet Wednesday as he spoke at an event on the campus of Utah Valley University where he was answering a question at the time. Video released by the FBI had shown the suspected gunman on the roof of a nearby building and then climbing down. The agency saying they found a rifle nearby in a wooded area as well as bullets that had messages written on them. And of course, Governor Cox went over some of those messages during a news conference after the arrest of Robinson. Again, at this point, we know that Robinson is expected to appear for his first court appearance on Tuesday there. It's not clear if cameras will be allowed inside of the courtroom, but if they are, we're going to make sure to bring those to you right here on Live Now from Fox.
Well, tense moments at a San Francisco high school today. Burton High locked down after a student was shot and wounded on campus. Police say a suspect was arrested about 1.5 miles away. NBC Bay Area Sergio Quintana was the first reporter at the scene, and he spoke with students about what they heard.
This was the scene at Burton High School today, a police dog sniffing out potential evidence around campus as crime scene investigators carry out bags of materials, all trying to sort out and solve an on-campus shooting. Students say they were unsure about what happened at first.
I turned over and I saw the cops coming. And then I thought it was actually real. And then I saw the dude get taken away in a stretcher.
Kids were starting to go to lunch and then the cops started pulling up because a kid got shot in the leg.
Where?
I believe it was out here. A bunch of the kids, they started running back into the building.
So out here kind of close to the football field?
Yeah, kind of just near the front area.
According to San Francisco police and the school superintendent, a student was shot in the leg and then rushed to a local hospital.
We are really thankful that our student is recovering in the hospital right now. Again, SFPD responded immediately.
When officers arrived, they immediately locked the campus down and started looking for the suspected shooter.
Our officers worked quickly to identify the suspect who fled the scene. Officers from our Crime Gun Investigation Center quickly identified the juvenile male suspect and took him into custody.
That person was arrested about 1.5 miles away in the Bayview district. San Francisco police would not say if that juvenile was also a student at this school or if he had any connection to the victim. Students tell us the campus remained on lockdown for about an hour before classes were cleared to resume. And we were the first news crew to arrive on scene, and it was relatively subdued here at Burton High School, and that's in part because most of the students remained in school, in class through the duration of the afternoon. The school superintendent says a text message was sent out to parents advising them how and where they could come by to pick up their children early if they were concerned. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.